Before we get started, welcome to the Randy Sheffield Investors Group main stage. We're pleased you could join us for this presentation. We want to thank Randy Sheffield Investors Group for helping make main stage presentations like this one possible. The truth is that life is complex. Family, business, and career every day is a juggling act that can leave little time to make critical decisions about your financial future. Contact Randy and his team here today to learn more about their unique approach to financial planning and how it can benefit you. If today's your first time at Forest City Comic Con, a very special welcome to you. Don't forget to check out the demo fields out back, all the great panels and presentations, the interactive zone, and of course, the exhibitor floor upstairs. The Fanshawe College photo booth also has celebrity photo opportunities throughout the day, including the chance to get your photo taken with the Stranger Things Demogorgon tribute. The Forest City Comic Con would also like to thank Digital Extremes, the Fanshawe College photography program, Control V Virtual Reality, and Downtown London for helping make today's show possible. And of course, thank you fans for coming out. We hope you enjoy the event today. Before we begin, a few quick housekeeping notes. The emergency exits for this room are located at the sides and rear. If you should have to leave during the presentation, you are welcome to return. However, if you believe returning to your seat will cause a disruption, we ask that you continue viewing from the back when you return. Don't forget that events continue into the evening tonight, including the OWL of London Witches and Wizards Fall Fling dance starting at 8 p.m. I'm just enjoying the anticipation. Ladies and gentlemen, after 10,000 years, she is finally free to come to London, Ontario. Welcome! A huge Forest City Comic Con welcome to Carla Perez. One of them is rigged.
Okay, oh, good. Oh, I don't know what to do now.
It's going to shrink you. It's a whole thing. You've been there before.
Okay. We go right here. That sounds good. Someone else joining us? We have two mics here. Okay.
I got nervous, so
Hi,
I
guys.
came over
How
here
are
instead.
you? Oh.
Put that up.
Hello. Yes, now it's on.
How are you doing today?
All right, I'm sure that everybody's going to have some questions, but I'll get us warmed up, get into the flow of things.
Wonderful.
So I know that at first when you took over the role of Rita, you had to wear some latex to age up your character and to try to look as much like Machiko Soga as possible. Was that something that you were expecting to have to do for a long time, or is the plan always to get into youth potion, let's get me back into my own face as quickly as possible?
A good question. When I began, yeah, they did put me in the prosthetics with the wrinkles. And no, I did not know what the storyline was going to entail, especially that he was going to incorporate her becoming young again.
Right.
So I thought that was my job.
So you were expecting full contract, I'm going to be putting this on.
Costume, the wrinkles, the head, everything. I thought that's what I would be doing. And I did not realize how long the show was going to last and how many times I'd be coming back. So to me, it was just, in the beginning, a normal acting gig. And then, you know, after several episodes and watching the news and the rave reviews on the Power Rangers, I kind of got the hint that it was a lot longer than I expected. But it was a great thing for me. I was not complaining.
Right.
Yeah.
So was it, were you relieved when they told you about the youth potion, that you were not going to have to sit
Oh
through that?
my goodness, that was like the best day. Because the prosthetics that you have to put on, it's like, I'm not even sure. It's a type of latex, but it goes on as a liquid. So they start like putting it in the areas where you normally age. And then they give it a couple of minutes, and then it takes your skin and it singes it like that. And around the lips and around the eyes, and you're like, oh my God, what happened to me? It's a great effect because it seriously makes you look like about 20, 30 years older. But yeah, it was a nice thing because my skin had, it was relieved because putting that on every day, it takes a toll on you. And you know, the lighting, and you're always sweating, and just touch-ups in between scenes were terrible because you're always sweating. And they always have to put a little bit more latex because it peels off, and it was just gross.
And I imagine that saved a lot of time. Like, how much time went into putting on the prosthetics in the first place?
Well, in the morning, my call time was 4:30 just to be ready by 7
That's gross.
at the time, yeah. So it took a while, but then when they put into the script that I become younger, you know, about another hour was taken off that, so it was better, much better.
Right.
A relief.
Yeah, you've cited the wedding episode as one of your favorites in the past. Was that part of it? Just knowing that behind the scenes, you're like, I can finally just go into this and not have to
Oh
go
yeah,
through that process?
yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite times filming was the wedding. That was just a wild episode.
So if we go back to the beginning of taking over the role, I'm curious about what it was like to take on this role that was played by somebody else, sort of, because, you know, it was dubbed over from other footage. So when you were starting off, were you really trying to imitate what she was doing beforehand, or were you right away trying to give it your own spin?
Well, when I got the job for Rita, I didn't actually do the traditional audition, so I didn't know who she was until I auditioned for a movie that Shuki Levy, the director of Power Rangers, was doing. And then I didn't get that role, but he called me in right afterwards and said, you know, I have someone in mind for you. I need you to take a screen test. Would you do it? I'm like, sure. And I went to the studios, and that's when he showed me the footage of, they used to call her in Super Sentai, Bandora, right? Yeah. And I was like, really? I remind you of her? Come on, are you serious? He said, yeah, you could do this. He goes, but of course I want you to do your own little take on it. So he did give me the freedom to kind of do a twist on her. But of course they brought in the original costume that she actually wore, and they made the makeup the same. I was like, okay, well, I couldn't do too much, but I did try to make her a little more on the humorous side. So I just took her up a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Was the plan always to have the voice stay the same?
So when I began, they did the screen test, and I started off with the voice and everything. It was all just the whole character, and they loved it. But I guess during the editing, they wanted the same effect where, you know, it's always been dubbed. So they kept that. And but I hadn't known that when I first started.
Right.
Yeah.
So as the series went on, did you find that sometimes her voice was in your head as you were acting?
Yeah, so you know, while filming, you're doing the entire character, you're doing the voice, you're doing everything. And then after you're done with all the filming, they take it to a sound studio, and then they edit all the voices and stuff. Yeah.
Sure. Now, what was it like to have that really unique send-off to the character when you got to be transformed into this human version of the character? I know that you pretty much through the entire run, you were in the same costume, the same makeup, the same hat, all the way through, and then in your final episode, you get to be a typical 90s human. What was that like?
She was a yuppie, they said, a preppy yuppie. Back then, I guess the term was a young urban professional, but I don't know if they have that now. But back then, yeah, that was Countdown to Destruction, Power Rangers in Space, when Zordon, unfortunately, he
Rest in
passes.
peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. But so from that light just made all the goodness come out of people, and apparently Rita and Zed were kind of good, and you know, in a way. So they had the chance to become their best selves, and that was a preppy young yuppie couple. So I really wish they would have had done something a little different, like they were a little crazy but good, you know. But you know, it worked out because it was funny. You know, they had a little dance, and I enjoyed it because that was the first time that, you're right, it was completely different from Rita. We although we had to stay with the script, but we could go in our little direction, and I just wanted her to show everyone that she really did love Zed. It wasn't like she was always like, you're terrible, Zeddy, what's wrong with you? But so to make sure that they were just kind of gazing at each other, and that they really did have love for each other. That's what I wanted to show. So
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a treat because we got to see you, and I mean, we already knew what your face looked like, but for Zed, to see him all of a sudden being
I
this super yuppie with, the sweater tied around his neck
Right.
and everything, that was a shocking sight.
That's funny, because that's, the costume was Ed Neal, and he was telling me what I should do. No one's ever seen my face. I mean, it's different for you. Well, just, just go along, play with it, have fun. And I think he did a great job.
Now, the character actually ended up continuing later on. I don't remember which season it was, but Rita ended up coming back in this mythic mother sort of figure. I know that you've spoken in the past about how you wish that you didn't necessarily like when Rita, I mean, you like when she had a softer side towards Lord Zed, but you like your Rita evil.
Yes.
So what was that like to see the character kind of come back as this godly sort of, almost fairy godmother sort of figure?
It was different, but I know that that footage was actually back in from the 80s too, from the original Super Sentai, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I didn't think anything wrong with it. I just thought it was it was well done, I think. I'm still kind of not sure if they meant to make you realize that it was actually Rita or if it was someone similar to her.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure. I don't really know which way they wanted to go with that. Does anyone know if it was supposed to really be Rita or is just someone that's similar to her?
Lost in translation.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. I guess it's up to you, whatever you want to believe.
Well, what do you want to believe? Do you want to believe that she's living this happy, yuppie lifestyle on a yacht with Zed somewhere, or?
I want to believe that, yeah, they're happy, but they've become bored being good.
Okay.
And so they're plotting their way back somehow.
Now they're just like white
Yes.
criminals.
Yeah, the real world has gotten to them. They don't want to pay bills and all that stuff. They're tired of their kids. They're retired and,
So you've been a part of the Power Rangers franchise pretty much since the beginning, and it's on its 26th season now is what we're ramping up for.
25th.
25th?
Yeah.
It's the 25th anniversary this year.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, I believe
They're filming their 20, yeah.
Right, sorry. So I'm curious why you think that this franchise has such long staying power and how it's been able to stick around for as long as it has.
I believe that when Power Rangers began, there was nothing for children as far as superheroes and, children that can empower themselves. There was nothing out there that was like that except, maybe a cartoon or something, but nothing like live action. And I think when it came out, the kids were just like, oh my gosh, they're almost my age, I can do this. I can change the world. I can save people. I can save our city, So it was kind of one of those things that empowered the younger generation, and it still does that. There still is nothing that can compare to it, if you think about it. I mean, is there another show that does that? No. And really, I was speaking to someone I drove out here with last night, and he was saying, I get that question a lot, and he would say, yeah, and even if they tried to compare it to the Power Rangers, it wouldn't compare because you don't have that production like Power Rangers, and it's just a classic that you can't really try and compete with.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think that's the reason, and they were faced with daily dilemmas that the young people face all the time, and it showed you how to cope and how to be a standing young person in life. So it was a good moral show for the children. Yeah.
That's great.
The younger generation, and still is.
Yeah, that's something we need now as much as ever.
Oh
Absolutely.
my gosh, yes, definitely.
Oh, you kind of went somewhere when you said that.
Well, I mean, I'm sure I don't have to. Well, no, wait a minute. I'm in Canada. You're not in the U.S. Okay, in the U.S. it's a little different because I'm sure you've heard of the news. There's so much. I don't know. Yes. There you go.
Negativity.
There's a lot of negativity. A lot of. It's just the situation, especially the political situation. It really drains people now, and it's it seems like there's always so much turmoil and fighting and just bullying. It's just a bad climate at the moment.
Sure.
And it's sad for the younger people because that's what they're looking at. They're looking at that every day. It's in the media, whenever they're online. It's just there, and I'm sure it's doing something to them, and it's a sad thing. But hopefully, sooner rather than later, we can clean things up and at least make it a little better for younger people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with a little bit of ranger power to kind of pull people
Exactly.
over.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. You talked about empowerment, and I'd seen an interview earlier where you talked about being a big fan of the direction that the Star Wars franchise has gone in with girl power and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that gender and racial representation has a lot to do with why Power Rangers has resonated with so many different people? It's been a diverse cast since the very beginning, right?
Yeah, I think the fact that you do have such a diverse cast as far as you have boys and girls working together on a team, and girls are empowered too. They're not just empowered because they can speak and be a role model, but they can actually fight and do things and just be just like as significant as a male. So,
Right.
you don't have to stand in the background. You got to get up there and you got to show people what you can do and how you can help. And that's a great thing for women, especially girls, because now I'm sure before, as far as feminism and that, it was always there, but now it's the time. It's the time for women to just, don't be afraid anymore. Don't just stand in the background. It's time to just show everyone what you have,
Yeah.
what you can contribute to society.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. When everybody's putting on a costume, everybody's equal.
Right.
And there's when they take the masks off, sure, the girls are girls and the guys are guys, and there's everybody's themselves.
Right.
But then when it comes time to do the right thing, it's about what you can do that matters, not necessarily
Exactly.
what's going on underneath the suit.
And that's a great lesson to learn, because too many things weigh you down and show you or tell you something negative. And to have a show like that could just empower girls and of both genders is a good thing.
Speaking
Oh no, not both, just many genders now.
Hey.
You know that, right?
Speaking of empowering young girls, I know a couple of years ago you were very excited to introduce your own daughter to the series.
Oh yes.
Is she
I'm a
still
12-year-old now.
okay? So is she still into Power Rangers, or has she outgrown that a bit now?
She has outgrown it a little because she's watched every episode on Netflix now, so she knows all about it. But the funny thing is now I know all her friends because they're all like friending me on Instagram and Facebook. I was like, oh, okay, and they've got all the questions. But it's cute. It's really cute. Now it's not so much like, why is she Rita Repulsa? How come she can't be a Pink Ranger or something? But no, they like it, and she thinks it's pretty cool.
Okay, I want to ask about a couple of particular instances, or just kind of like the culture of being on the set. One of them being, there was one episode where Amy Jo Johnson dresses as Rita and imitates you. Was that a flattering experience for you to have your mannerisms copied in this way, or what did that feel like to watch that happen?
I thought it was funny. She did a good job. It's hilarious. Yeah, I think she should have put the headdress on, maybe the makeup. That would have been funny. But no, she did a good job. It's hilarious.
And then when people think about acting and a typical acting role, they're probably not thinking about people in these giant foam costumes, covered in eyeballs and claws and antennae and whatnot. So what's it like going to work and interacting with these like otherworldly creatures? Like, do you have to focus to take it really seriously, or are you just leaning into the ridiculousness of it?
Honestly, you have to. You have to just take it all in and just say, okay, I'm on the moon with a bunch of monsters that work for me. So every day, I didn't feel like it was a job. It felt like I was just having a great time, like I was a kid again, and and your imagination has just come to life, because really being on one of those sets, it's just wild, because like you said, these monsters with eyeballs all over them, and it was a fun experience, and I'm thankful for every moment of it. And like I said, you're just playing. You're playing. You're having a good time. But yet you have to really get into character, because the animation is over the top, because really it's in a world where it is over the top. So yeah, I mean, I enjoy being in that environment.
Right.
Yeah, I would love to work in that type of environment again, because it's just a fantasy land.
Did you ever find yourself struggling to try to make sense of things that just were never going to make sense? Like the fact that, you have this witch character and your, I believe, biological brother is a skeleton for some reason. Like, it's operating on some really flimsy logic, so...
It's funny, yeah. That went through my mind, yeah, when they introduced the brother and my father. It's like, really, I came from him, and that's my brother. Okay, so, you can't really make sense of it. It just is. So you just go with the script and kind of put your feelings into it, and it works, as long as you do it that way. Or, they could have all been adopted. Maybe
Sure.
Master Lyle adopted the both of them. Who knows? That's how families work, so.
Yeah, that's a great way of thinking
Yeah.
about it. Did you ever, behind the scenes, have those discussions? Come up with your own theories about how things happened? Or you just kind of lean into it? And
Basically, you just have to lean into it, go into it, and just, feel it. Yeah, that's basically what you do.
The character of Repulsa obviously means a lot to you. You're here talking about it now.
Yes.
Can you speak to some of the opportunities that playing this character has opened up for you, or some of the craziest places that it's taken you?
Wow. Yeah, sure. Back then, it was a little different, because, our fans were children, so I didn't meet any of the fans, and I didn't realize how many fans were actually out there. But now, going forward so many years, it's given me so many opportunities, because I'm meeting everyone, and I'm meeting all the fans, and the fans from back then are adults, so it's a whole different type of dynamic. You can actually know what they were thinking and how they felt about it, and how it's just captured so many hearts in children that, till this day, it's still a big impression on people. It's made me learn a lot that, something back then that wasn't that big, you didn't think it was, can really make an impact for the rest of your life. So it's very important to take everything that you do in life seriously and give it your all, because you don't know what's going to come around to you, it's here like 25 years later. I would have never known it would have been this big, and it's still going on, and all the people I meet and all the stories. It's just, it's a heartwarming feeling, and I'm so appreciative that I was able to be even a small part of that. So yeah, I've learned so much from it, and I'll always be grateful for my experience on Power Rangers.
We're a few years on from it now, and I think I know the answer to this, but I'm hoping it's maybe a little bit different. As far as you know, is there anything more that we're going to see from the Adi Shankar Power Rangers short film, or is that just kind of going to be this little... Does everybody know what I'm talking about? Have you seen this? The gritty, R-rated, super violent... It doesn't exist on YouTube, kids, don't worry, don't look it up.
It's strictly for the children back then that are adults now.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know that the hope at first had been to try to make something out of it, and then there were lawsuits going back and forth, and we've seen the reboot since then. So is that just gonna, as far as you know, just be this thing that we can look back on and enjoy nostalgically, or is anything else coming from that?
Well, the idea when Adi Shankar produced it is, he's a very big Power Ranger fan. He's has the biggest collection. And he was one of the children that grew up on Power Rangers. And his idea was to make something that was just strictly for the fans that watched it back then, who are now adults. And you know, if you know a little bit about his filming style, he likes the really dark and really glory and very dark side of filming, because he does like Judge Dredd and Into the Gray and all that stuff. So that's what he wanted to create, and I think he did it. The thing is, he had an issue after it came out that there was controversy, of course there was, but the problem was, I guess, because the storyline, you know, it's really Chicky Levy's, it's Saban's. So I could understand that, but to do a feature film, you'd have to go through a lot, and he thought that maybe he could do it. He eventually wanted to have a feature film, but there was just too much red tape, and I just think it was just too difficult to go around all that. But maybe, who knows, now that Saban has sold it, maybe there's a possibility that a feature film might be coming, who knows? That's what the original plan was.
Right.
Right.
So having been a part of that, and I know that you've already spoken today about how important Power Rangers is for setting like a great example for kids, are you know, is there any kind of tension for you, the idea of there being this thing with the same name on it that's like gritty and dark and for adults who are looking back, have already watched the show? Like, does that not quite jive with what Power Rangers is supposed to mean for kids, or are you able to sort of separate those?
I could separate it. The thing is that he was thinking that the darkness, well, to me, from what I understood, it was supposed to be different, especially in the title, because it was Rangers/Power, or Powers/Rangers. And if you're anywhere in the tech world when it comes to programming, a / is supposed to separate Power Rangers from, because it's kind of like a hashtag. I'm getting a little too technical, but when you look it up, you should only be able to do that if you're an adult and know what that means. So that's why the title was like that. But I didn't realize when I first saw it how dark it would be.
Okay.
Especially when there was like, you know, the women and some of the really racy parts. That's why they had to cut the original, because it was a little too racy.
Okay.
I don't know, there was an even darker part than what you see now. So, yeah, that aspect, yeah, I feel kind of bad that if someone was to come up, but the internet is a terrible place. Okay? It's a terrible place, because not only is Power / Rangers there, but it's worse. Children can get to anything. So, to me, if you have children, they really shouldn't be on the internet. I believe, unless your parents are there with you. I mean, yeah, maybe it's hard to do, but you really can't. I mean, it's a difficult thing. There's a disclaimer. They shouldn't be there. They shouldn't be watching it without their parents. But I guess that's the really big issue there, huh? Because it was so dark and not for children. But yeah.
Okay, I just bummed everybody out. That's
Yeah.
great. So I've got a couple more questions, but before we do that, I want to open it up to the audience. Does anybody have any questions for Carla? Anything you've been begging to ask, maybe since you were a small child? I'm specifically teasing you by not calling on you. No.
I'll come up to you.
Are you guys?
So in playing Rita, what's been your favorite kind of quirk or kind of your own little spin on something that you've given her, that you've just kind of enjoyed doing over the years, that you're not quite sure many people have noticed, but you just kind of enjoyed doing for the heck of it?
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good question. Haven't had that question before, but I think I enjoyed the interaction with Zed, because I know that was a little different, that hadn't been done before, and that was original to the show. And I tried to give her like a human quality, because, you know, when you're married, you're always insulting each other. You don't even realize it, even those little tiny things. And that's what I wanted to give, because he was so dark and kids were kind of scared of him. I wanted to soften that whole relationship a a little with some humor. So I was always maybe like, pushing him or giving a little slap or a little like tap with this or something like that, or like face like, oh no, not again. But yeah, I wanted to put a little humor into that whole relationship. So I hope that came out the way I hoped it would.
Okay, I'm gonna head over here.
So my question is, from the first episode of Power Rangers in Space, where it's the gathering of the villains.
Oh, yes.
What was that fight scene between you and Hillary Shepard Turner, who played Diva Talks, trying to go after the Red Space Ranger, Andros trying to be the one where you had to fight until at the end it was Melanie Perkins who plays Crone, Astronomer.
All right. What was it about, that whole fight scene?
Yeah, where you and Hillary Shepard Turner as Diva Talks have a fight going after the Red Space Ranger.
Well, I believe that scene was just about power. I mean, you have two divas there, and they're both trying to destroy the Power Rangers. So, when you have those type of people, there's always that, like, challenging type of fighting going on. And I think it just came out, One had to be on top, so they're gonna try and take that away from each other. So that whole fight scene, or shoveling each other back and forth, was about that. So.
And the one where she sticks the apple in your mouth.
Yeah, that was fun to play because it was a real apple, and I had to seriously get my teeth into it to stay. I think I shot that maybe about 4 times because the apple kept falling out. But yeah, it was fun. It was hilarious. We had a great time playing it. Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
It's fairly well known now that Bryan Cranston was a monster in one of the episodes.
Yeah.
Was there any other celebrities that made any cameos like that?
Oh, you know what? I found out that, do you remember the Machine Empire, the queen? She was played by, what was her name?
Alex Ford.
Yeah, isn't that hilarious? I didn't know that. Yeah, I had no idea that was her, but she did a good job. And now I see her everywhere, and it tickles me to see them both, that they were monsters, or the machine. Yeah, that's funny.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
So it's you never actually did the Rita's voice, right? It was that was someone else did that separately in the studio.
In the sound studio.
So when you were actually acting them, because it's such a distinct voice, when you said your lines, did you say them just with your normal, sweet, nice voice, or did you?
Oh,
ever
no, not at all. You can't do that.
No.
When you're acting, you have to just put everything into it. I didn't even realize they were dubbing my voice. I had no idea, because when I filmed everything. And I heard later that they kept it because it was, it had a good effect, and also because it was the original voice, it just kept going. But through the years, I mean, I always hear that voice, and people tell me, you sound just like her. How come they just didn't do that? Well, that's just how entertainment is. You don't know what they're going to do until after you filmed it and you see it for yourself. So, but yeah, when you're acting and you're doing something like that, especially if it's that animated and over the top, you got to put everything. That's the voice, the body, everything. That's how it is.
And my second question is, just because I don't know necessarily the backstory, but when the first movie came out with Ivan Ooze, because I don't think you were in that, right?
No, that was right after I was hired. I know they went out to film in Australia, and they had like the Australian actors. So the actress was from Australia.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cute baby. Oh my God, you're so adorable. I want to eat you.
She's serious.
I'm serious. Get over here.
That's a headline for tomorrow. Rita Repulsa eats food.
Hi.
Why were you laughing a lot?
Why was I laughing? Because it feels good to be evil. She enjoyed it. She had a great time.
I just wanted to thank you for the acting that you did for the show itself, because I watched it myself when I was younger.
Oh.
And it's actually the first live action show that I watched. I used to watch cartoons, and I still do.
I remember that though, yeah. Morning
And-
cartoons.
It wasn't until my daughter was 4 or 5 and her cousins introduced her to Power Rangers,
Oh.
and she started acting it out. And I decided to just watch her to tell them not what to do. But
Oh, yeah.
she actually fell in love with the show. She likes the season that yourself and your colleagues have acted in.
Oh, that's wonderful. So she just started watching?
Well, she watched the entire series up until last year, and
Oh, okay.
just want to say thank you for that.
Oh, yes, thank you. I had a great time doing it. I'm so glad. I'm so, also, it amazes me that now you have everything you want to watch right here on your fingertips. You can watch them every time. Netflix, this is great. It's wonderful that the younger generation are able to see what you grew up with.
I believe I saw a hand over here. Or- Super fan.
Okay, 2 quick questions. What, obviously you've met Rita,
Look at this, guys. She gave me this necklace. Isn't this beautiful? It says MMPR in it. It's like a little locket.
and it's got all the stones of the different color
It's beautiful.
rangers on
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, so when you met Barbara Goodson, who does the voice of Rita, what was your
Yes.
interaction with her? And also too, if you could write Rita's story now, going forward, how would you, or what would your storyline be?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I liked her storyline, but the funny thing is, now with that new movie that came out by Lionsgate,
Yeah.
that's a different storyline. I didn't hear that one before. That was pretty cool. I like the fact that she was actually the Green Ranger, and then she came back to kill all of them. So I enjoy that, but I think she would become the Green Ranger again, maybe like have her own team of Power Rangers, but the evil Power Rangers, that take on the whole world. I think that would be, it's like kind of what they're doing now. There's like that alternate universe, is that with the Shattered Grid. So I think she would go in that direction. Yeah, and Lord Zed would be there too.
And then what was your interaction like with Barbara Goodson?
Barbara Goodson's funny because I had never met her while we were filming, because like I said, they would film all the episodes, and they would edit it, and then they would take it to a sound studio, and that's when they put on the voices and some of the fighting scenes and all that. And that's where she came in, so I never had a chance to meet her. I met her for the first time at Lexington Comic-Con, and it was like we knew each other for like all our lives. It was funny, like we were sisters, We were like, oh, hi, how are you? And we still see each other. Like I just saw her a couple of days ago. We went to go visit Robert Axelrod, who plays the voice of Zed in the hospital. And yeah, she's doing great. Zed's getting better. Zed. Robert's getting better. He's able to talk. You can hear him. You can understand him more. I just want them to start moving around. But yeah, we were all there in the hospital Thursday. Thursday, yesterday. Oh, Saturday, my God, it's traveling is getting to me. Yeah, so, yeah, we see each other all the time now. So it's funny because you never knew each other, but you feel like you've seen each other every day of your life. It's crazy. We're all just a big family, even though we don't see each other all the time. She's wonderful.
Was that Lexington Con the one where she
Yes.
stood behind you?
Yes,
and did the voice
yes,
while
that
you-
was,
Yeah.
that was the first day we met. How funny is that?
It's like you said, it seemed like you guys have been doing that big for
Yeah,
great.
it's wild. It's a crazy world.
All right, we've got time for, I think, just a couple more questions.
A two-part question.
Yeah.
First of all, I believe you've attended several Power Morphicons in the state of California. I was wondering what that was like. And second of all, I was wondering why Lord Zed and you teamed up with the Power Rangers against the Machine Empire. After all, if the Machine Empire conquered it, couldn't you just turn on them and defeat them? Or is a species thicker than ambition?
Wow, these are very good questions. I haven't been asked these before, but you got a point there. Why couldn't they have just turned on the Machine Empire? But I believe from when we were filming, the Machine Empire just got too big. There was too many machines, and I don't know, maybe their staffs and weren't powerful enough, or their sorcery wasn't powerful enough. But and then of course they became good, so you can't do anything with that good wave that overcame them. So it would have been an interesting episode if they could have turned on them. They could have lasted for a while. But I'd have to see that.
And that's for Power Morphin.
Yes. Oh, and Power Morphin. Power Morphin is, I've only been there twice. The first time was, now it's been
2016. Because that's where I first
That's where I met you. Yeah, that's right. So 2016 and 2018. That place is wild, though. Have you ever been to one, or are you just wondering how it is?
I've been to one much too far away. I live there.
Oh, okay. As he can tell you, that is amazing. If you are a very big fan of Power Rangers, you can see every actor that has been on every season since '93. They're all there. There's like 120 of us. It's crazy. So it's an overwhelming experience, but luckily it lasts a couple days. And from what I hear, everyone has a great time. I mean, he could tell you, but it's an experience. If you can, you gotta go. You gotta go.
Hello.
Hi.
I was wondering if, other than Rita, who was your favorite character?
Other than Rita, let's see. I liked the Green Ranger and the Pink Ranger Cat. Because, of course, they started off as evil. They came from Rita. Yeah, but I liked them. They were fun.
Okay, I think we got, yep.
Hi.
I was just thinking, like, Zed and Goldar and they all had the full head masks, and you're like the only one of that group that could actually see out. So I'm wondering if they were bumbling around a lot, and if you had to be their eyes sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. Whenever they had a scene or a close-up, it was kind of difficult. There was a lot of times where, they would get the spacing wrong, because it's hard to see out of those costumes. And then if you're in the costume for so long, you're sweating and your eyes are like it's pretty gross. And a lot of times you have to guide them if they can't make a mark, but you're out of the scene, but you're guiding them where to stand so the camera gets them. But yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to have been someone who was acting in one of those outfits, because it was just so cumbersome and, like I said, gross to be in. On top of that, and they're very hot. It's extremely hot, because once they take that off, every scene they have to take it off, and every scene they're sweating. A lot of sweat comes off them. Like, gross. So yeah, it was hard filming with them, but in the end it looked good. In the end it worked.
Imagine like a mama duck leading them around.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of it was that. And a lot of things behind the scene, but it worked out.
Great. Are there more questions? I just got a little message that we have a little bit more time than I thought, so yeah.
Yeah.
So, would you rather have Zed become immortal but have the Power Rangers be killed off, or would you rather have the Power Rangers be killed off and have Zed become immortal?
Oh, wow. Oh, gosh, let's see. I would want to take a little twist on it, maybe have Zed immortal, but I wouldn't want to kill the Power Rangers. I would want to change them up, put a spell on them. I think that would be funner. You know, to be able to like make them into puppets and have them do what you want
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
Good question though.
So here's another question coming off of that. What do you think that Rita is like then? If, let's say, you know, she does eventually defeat the Power Rangers, like where does that leave you? Where does that leave Rita? Does that leave her without a purpose, or?
Oh no!
Or at that
What do I
point-
do now?
Exactly. You know, like do you need that competition at this point now that somebody's finally fought back against you so thoroughly?
I know. These questions are amazing, you guys. I know. What would she do? What would she do? There's no more Power Rangers. She has them.
She put them in the dumpster.
There you go. She put them in the dumpster. But I'm sure someone would rise up, or a group of people would rise up and try and to continue what the Power Rangers did, or try to get the Power Rangers back somehow. But yeah, I think somehow, some way, another good force entity would come around and try to defeat her. You couldn't keep her in rule or in power for too long.
There were so many different monsters on this show. Did they ever like run out of ideas and be like, hey, does anybody have anything? Or, like, should we do like a rat monster?
You know what? I mean, I'm sure that's what happened when they were filming the original Super Sentai, is that there was just so many monsters after a while, like, oh my god, okay, there's a brick wall. Let's have a brick wall monster. There's a purse. Oh, a purse monster. I think that's what they were doing because, you know, as the seasons went by, that's how the monsters became. They just became these, like, inanimate objects, you know. It's like, okay, there's a glass monster.
Yeah, find something in the room, make
Yeah.
a monster.
Yeah, and I think that's what happened. Because all the monsters that had, most of them were from this original show back in Japan. There was over hundreds and hundreds of them. So they had so many to choose from. But I'm hoping they were able to use them all. Like I said, like one of my favorite was the purse monster, because come on, a purse monster. It was just a purse and she was terrorizing everything.
Was there like an episode where you had to read like a line and you just couldn't keep a straight face for the life of you?
Oh my gosh. I think there were probably several, because we had a great time on that show. And a lot of times the lines, some of them weren't the greatest, like as far as, you know, they were kind of funny. So when you're on set and maybe you were doing a line and it didn't come out right, there was writers that would just rewrite the script. So the next day you would do the script over, or that scene over, and it would be written differently. So yeah, there were several episodes where we had lines that just didn't work out, or you know, they weren't right, and most of them were funny though. I mean, most of the writing was pretty hilarious. But yeah, we had a lot of that going on.
Yeah. Oh, Mark. Yeah.
Hi, me again.
Hi.
Hi. With this Shattered Grid event that came out, and just I think it's finished by now, an idea that came to my mind was, due to the two variations of the first season, your series as well as Elizabeth Banks,
Uh-huh.
I always thought perhaps it might go towards a realm of having the both Ritas teaming up themselves, because they have a bunch of team-up different episodes. I figured that might have been interesting.
That would have
twist of it.
been pretty interesting. I know they have them in that video game, the Power Rangers game. Have you seen that, where you could fight both Ritas?
Yeah, I stopped playing when my kids started taking my phone.
Oh, okay. But having them come together on the Shattered Grid, I would love to see that.
Because seeing characters with different aspects of them, I just
Yeah.
interested in the dynamic and want to get your
Yeah,
thoughts
because
on
they're
that.
so completely different. I mean, even the outfits, the costumes are completely different. The storylines are different. I think that would work. I would love to do that.
As well as the Ranger characters as well. like the whole premise is just different from two different aspects, but it would just be interesting twist.
Yeah, I gotta throw that out there. Maybe they could do something like that.
Thank you.
I think so.
I don't like microphones. You were talking about girls, they're learning about power and control, being able to take care of themselves. Wondering if you learned anything personally about yourself playing the character.
Yeah, I've learned a lot. I've learned that, you know, your ideas, whether you're not sure of them or not, they're ideas. You got to put them out there, because you don't know how good of an idea you have until you speak it and let people know about it. You know, and from one simple idea, so much greatness could come out of it. You know, you can't keep it inside. You have to speak up. And even though hers were evil and stuff, it taught me that, I mean, look what she accomplished. I mean, she never destroyed them, but she accomplished a lot. I mean, and we as women, you just have to speak your mind. Let it out there. Throw it out into the world. I mean, you will never know the greatness that can come out of your ideas unless they're out of your mind. You got to put them out there. And that's what I've learned. I mean, yeah. Wow, it gives me chills, you know? It really gives me chills thinking about it. There's so much greatness that can come from just a simple idea, simple thought. You just have to speak it. Yeah.
We've heard a lot about Rita Repulsa. I'm curious about what's next for Carla Perez. I see that you've got some roles that seem to be coming up. You seem to be getting back into acting. Can you tell us what's coming up for you?
Yeah, I'm starting to act again. Since I've been out on the con circuit, I've been getting a lot of offers to do some films and stuff. He was talking about an indie film I was just in. That should be going out to one of the film festivals. It's funny, the character, she seems evil because she comes out with all leather and she's got this leather face on. She's a crazy character. But there's a twist to her, because even though she's evil, she's more like a evangelist or
A vigilante.
a vigilante, yeah. So she comes out like she's gonna kill somebody, but there's a good twist to it. So hopefully that can come out soon. We do the previews for that, but that will be an indie film. Hopefully the budget is big, so it could be a bigger film. And right now I'm shooting another film. It's called Motorhome, where I don't know what it is, but people want me to be evil for some reason. I mean, come on. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's a typecasting. But, and she has a husband too, where she's always fighting with. And they're in a motorhome, because the whole thing is called Motorhome. Oh my God, I just came with a revelation.
The part you were born to play.
I know. But yeah, so I'm filming another movie right now. Hopefully more come into works. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's a great thing, because now that I'm back and starting to film again, so
It's
we'll see
wonderful.
what happens, yes.
I was told that if I had any dream questions to save them to the very end, which we are at now.
Oh,
So I
okay,
understand
great.
you have the photo up to get
Let
to.
everybody know that we're doing a photo op in the photo area upstairs.
Okay, yeah, so if anybody wants to catch a photo op in the photo area, Carla's up there next, and then upstairs on the exhibition floor, available for
Wonderful.
For autographs and pictures. But my dream question that I wanted to ask is, I'm just curious if you have a hard time getting people to take you seriously when you have a headache.
I cannot tell people that, because every time I say I have a headache, even my family, they're like, oh no, she has a headache. Hi guys, stop it. So I don't say it anymore, because that's what I get. Every single time, no fail.
Yep. All right, perfect. So thank you everybody for coming out and for your terrific questions for Carla. Let's give a hand.
Thanks you guys. Have a great